Today, I'm going to show you the best places to get a GPU at MSRP.
Here it is, 3080 Ti.
If you've been noticing that prices are going down really fast, everything, even availability is going up. Prices have been going down on basically very desirable GPUs. You may have FOMO or fear of missing out because you don't know exactly where to go for these falling prices. We want to get as close as possible to MSRP, and I don't mean just the retail MSRP that are very inflated on third-party AIB cards. I even mean the original MSRP that Nvidia first provided to us, like when the Founders Edition came out and are still sold at Best Buy. That's going to be your best place, but not the only place. I'm also going to tell you about other places online to get retail MSRP. At least you have a better shot at getting something. A lot of things that you certainly have to know. For example, the same GPU could be multiple prices across many different retailers online as well as in store. So the first place we're going to talk about, this is going to be in the US, where probably more people do have access to it. It's going to have to be a physical location. That's going to be Best Buy. There are going to be two ways for you to get a GPU at MSRP or MSRP retail. What I mean by that, the third-party AIBs are not the original MSRP of Nvidia, but there's still a way to get that cheaper route. You're just going to have to do a little bit of a workaround. Let's talk about the first way. Now, the availability has improved to the extent that if you go right now on the Best Buy app or on the website, you can actually search for graphics card or Nvidia or whatever GPU that you want. There's a very good chance you're going to be able to see a number of GPUs in stock. A huge difference now compared to before, you're actually going to see add to cart. For many GPUs, previously, if there was add to cart, it would make you go through a process where you would have to wait, see if it's in stock, or perhaps it'd be only local pickup. Now, you can actually have it shipped. Most likely it's going to be to a store. Sometimes they will let you get it shipped to your house, and these GPU prices are much better than they were previously. Keep in mind, first, we're talking about third-party AIB GPUs. Priced pretty good is a Windows CD key. Today's video sponsor is going to be VIP-CDKdeals.com. Very simple process. You can get a Windows 10 Pro CD key and remember to use code CC20 for a nice discount. And I'm going to give you specific examples so you know what I'm talking about. First, let's look for a very high-end but still mid-range GPU. That's going to be the Asus TUF 3070 Ti. Now, this GPU at Best Buy is selling for around $799, cheaper than the original $949, but still more expensive than the Nvidia MSRP of $599 that you'll find the Founders Edition for. So is $799 a good price for a 3070 Ti? It's okay. It's not the best that we've seen. Newegg actually had it for $699. I would consider that sort of the basement price. Bottom basement price you're going to find this 3070 Ti at, simply because it's a third-party AIB. You're never going to find it for $599, which is the Founders Edition. So $699 I would say is really the MSRP, the retail MSRP of a 3070 Ti Asus TUF. That's around where you should be looking to spend. Now, $799 if you need a GPU, it's not terrible, it's definitely better, but I would wait a little bit more because even Best Buy, sometimes they don't have the best prices on these GPUs. Sometimes they do. It's really weird. Sometimes the GPUs go down in price, sometimes they go up a little bit. The general trend has been really quickly going down after the tariffs expired, so you're going to want to take a look. I'd much rather you buy this at $699 than $799, especially considering whatever may come out this year with other GPUs. At least then you're going to be a little more future-proof and you're not going to take as much of a hit on the GPU pricing in case it does go down. So $799 is really the max I would spend for a 3070 Ti. If you search around, you're going to see many still in the 800 range, and please don't get one over 900. That's literally scalper pricing, and that pricing is way gone by now. Really, preferably, you want to be between the MSRP of $599 for Founders Edition, maybe up to $699, maybe pushing it. I saw the same GPU at Micro Center a few weeks ago, in fact, at $729. Now, that's still roughly within the scope of $699, only $30 more. Certainly not too bad, but here I would wait until you see it for $699 because they're willing to sell it at that price at this point. So let the expensive one stay. $799 is really if you're just desperate to get a GPU, which you really shouldn't be at this point with greater availability and prices rapidly going down. So that's one that you really want to wait on. And there's another one that's interesting. I'm not sure if I would tell you that it's a good buy or not, but it is a lower price than I've seen on other 3080 Ti's. This is going to be a Gigabyte Vision 3080 Ti for $1299. Now, that's still pretty expensive, but most of these 3080 Ti's just a few weeks ago were $1,600 plus. So this is definitely an improvement. I still would say wait. The best 3080 Ti you're going to get, once again, is going to be the Founders Edition at $1,199. And previously, the second best price was generally the EVGA for the Win 3, but that one is between $1,300 to $1,400. With pricing the way that it is now, you really definitely want to be under $1,300 for a 3080 Ti, which is basically one of the best gaming GPUs that you're going to get. Of course, it's not a 3090 or a 3090 Ti, but it's close enough that for the huge price differential between this and a 3090 or 3090 Ti, it's going to get basically very similar performance. So in terms of gaming, going to be your best bang for the buck at the really high end. Now, this GPU at $1,299, definitely I would kind of recommend against it. I'm only pointing it out because it's an example of how much they have fallen. It was rare to see any 3080 Ti in the $1,200 range. I've never seen them aside from the Founders Edition. So definitely when this one is much closer to the MSRP, maybe like around maybe $1,249 or even $1,199, that's really the sweet spot where I think it then would be worth it to get a 3080 Ti such as this. I'm not sure if it would go down to $1,199 because after all, that's the MSRP of the 3080 Ti Founders Edition, and the AIBs always like to be $50 to $100 more. So I would say $1,249 is a pretty good price for a 3080 Ti. Then you just have to make the decision if you like Gigabyte products, if you like the Vision one. It is a different design GPU than normal. Maybe you want to hold off for Asus or EVGA, but at this point, those are still more expensive. Now, an interesting thing, the 3070 Ti and 3080 Ti, since they were launched after the initial 3000 series, they seem to be a little bit easier to find and more in demand. And of course, you got to remember their prices were marked up a lot more than the original 3000 series as well. So you may have a harder time, but it's still there, finding something a little bit lower like an RTX 3060. These have been getting much closer to the high 400s and low 500s range. Remember, it's supposed to have an MSRP of $329. If you found it for that much, definitely a buy. But unfortunately, these are well into the $400 range. Some higher end models over $500. Now, even though there are more of them sort of made than like a 3080 Ti, I think it's a little bit harder to find them because they're going to be more in demand. But even Best Buy, they're going to have these in stock at different times. Sometimes you may have to have one near you. May not be as easy as sort of a higher tier GPU that's more expensive, less of a market for that. So these GPUs, definitely, I would wait until you can actually find one at a good price. Don't overpay for a 3060 or a 3060 Ti. In fact, if you're in the market for a 3060, I would say try to stretch it a little bit if you can for a 3060 Ti. Those are coming down in pricing really, really rapidly, and they perform a lot better in gaming, even though they have less VRAM, which doesn't really matter in this sort of category. They perform much better than a 3060. They're basically more like a 3070, a little bit cut down, and the 3070 is still considerably more expensive. At that point, I'd rather just go for a 3070 Ti, as we have seen these prices drop considerably, like with the Asus TUF. But otherwise, 3060 Ti is really where you want to be looking. They have been in stock in different places. Pricing will range definitely a pretty big amount, and if they do come in really cheap, they're still going to sell out fast. The GPU shortage isn't quite done as much as we would really hope, so these GPUs that are more attractively priced do happen to go pretty fast. Now, if you don't have a Best Buy near you, but you have access to maybe Amazon or Newegg, certainly going to be a little bit trickier, but in-stock GPUs are certainly popping up pretty continuously in these different websites. You just have to be careful with the pricing. For example, the ultra high-end 3090 Ti stayed in stock for a very long time on Newegg. Anybody could literally just buy it at the MSRP, the retail MSRP. Some of them were even priced close to the Founders Edition MSRP of $1999. Then the thing here is, it's a very expensive GPU, really not as much of a gaming return, really big diminishing returns compared to like a 3080 Ti, especially when people expect something to be coming out later in the year from AMD, Intel, and Nvidia themselves with the RTX 4000. But keep in mind, now there's definitely more stock available than there were before. It's not only on Best Buy and Micro Center, which not everybody has near them, but also on these different online outlets. And similarly, don't forget to check out AMD GPUs. They were really highly priced for a long time. finally, even the big 6900 XT has come down to basically MSRP. I've seen models online for $999 to maybe $1049 or thereabouts for third-party AIB 6900 XT GPUs. Now, these are great performing. Often they compete with a 3090, and they do have 16 gigabytes of VRAM. They're not quite going to beat the 3090 in every single game. And of course, if you throw ray tracing in there and Nvidia's DLSS, still going to be superior playing like that versus the 6900 XT. But for a traditional rasterization, especially if you're doing like 1440p and you want high refresh rates, 6900 XT is going to be a very good GPU for the price. At literally almost half the price of the 3090, you're getting a pretty fantastic bang for your buck. And now finally, what's the best price GPU of all? And that's going to be at Best Buy, the MSRP Founders Edition, which only Best Buy exclusively has. Now, you can't reserve or order these online. You can't get these at Micro Center either or anywhere else. They're exclusive to Best Buy. The only way is to check. I've done videos on this before. There's a little app trick that you check and you see sort of what's in stock and what isn't. And then you have to actually physically go to the store, tell the representative there the SKU number, and then if they have one available, if you see it on your app, there's a very good chance, and many of my viewers have gotten Founders Edition like this, that they're going to have it and you'll be able to buy it. The good thing is that's the original MSRP. So a 3080 is going to be $699, 3060 Ti $399, even the 3090 $1499, which is around $500 cheaper than average and all of the other GPUs that are going to be third-party AIBs. The big difference here is you're going to have to go in person to a Best Buy in order to be able to get this. It's probably never, or at least not for now, going to show up online just because the MSRP is really attractive. Like, people buy it right away. You can't really expect these to last very long at all. Some will last a little longer that are more expensive, like a 3080 Ti, 3090 Ti. They may stay in stock physically in the store for a few hours, maybe even a day or two. But if something like a 3080 hits or a 3070 Founders Edition, you can bet these will immediately sell, usually within the first hour, if not the first half hour. And sometimes even people that are there or work there, they may want to buy it as well for themselves. So that's going to be your best bet, but that's going to be only for people that have it, a store near them, and you're going to have to get there pretty quick and sort of watch the app and different notifications. So what we spoke about in the video previously, you can go online and actually see these retail MSRP GPUs. But if you want the original Nvidia MSRP, it's going to be a little harder, but it is possible, and even up till today, people have been successful in getting these GPUs. Alright guys, so let me know if you're still trying to get a GPU. Do these methods help? Definitely a little bit easier now than it was several months ago. I would say wait a little more until prices really stabilize and just don't get caught off guard with high pricing when it may be a little bit cheaper the following week. Let me know what luck you've had. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.